Our next block is our 8-point star, which this is our 8-point star here. So the majority of the little units are half square triangles. So I've drawn up the lines with our precision tool, Pauline Rogers precision tool, and together we need to put 2 lots of B and D together and 2 lots of C and D together. So we get those two, and then we need to have 2 lots of B and C together. So as I said, I've drawn lines on all the back of them, and we'll put those all together and I'll come back to you. So now I've got my 3 different combinations together, and I'm going to make half square triangles. Now if you're a bit unsure about this process, go back to your Back to Basics tutorial and it'll tell you all about how to make half square triangles. But I'm going to cut these in half, and then we're going to iron. Now iron them to the dark side. And then we're going to cut them all back to 3.5-inch squares. So we'll just do one of them, and then I'll come back to you later. So line up the 3.5 inches and over your 45-degree angle. Got a little bit there. So go through and do all that for all of your half square triangles. So now we've got our 4 lines together as per instructions, the illustration on the instructions, and we need to actually sew all those 4 lines so that we can then join it into one big block. So what I'm going to do is join all these blocks together. Just make sure, once again, like these center ones, make sure that you've got that, you know, the seams are actually matching up so that when you've sewn it, you'll get that nice point on it. So I'm going to sew these and then I'll come back to you. We have our 4 lines sewn together now, and so we need to iron them. And once again, we'll turn them all over, we'll iron the 1st and 3rd to the left-hand side, and then the 2nd and 4th to the right-hand side. So we're going to iron these seams over here. 1st and 3rd to the left. I didn't actually iron, I didn't iron this on the top. So they're going to the left, and then the 2nd and 4th to the right. So we want them to go that way, that way. So I've just turned it around to make it easier. So that fits in there right, and this goes to the right. Okay. So left, right, left, right. We'll turn those back over. Just check that they're all sitting the right way, and yes they are. And then we'll add row 1 to 2, 3 to 4, iron those out, and then the top row and the bottom row together. So I'll see you in a minute after I've done that. So that's all sewn together. So I did the 1st line to the 2nd line, the 3rd line to the 4th line, and then those 2 lines together. So that's all finished now, and all the points are looking pretty good. And I'm going to iron this. So just on the back of it, iron whichever way you feel it's sort of sitting properly. Like this one here seems to sit this way, so I'm going to iron that way. And just to get it pressed nicely. Turn it over. Stretch it out a little bit just to get all those bits out. So I'll go and put everything together, like the backing, the wadding and the block, and I'm going to quilt it, and I'll come back to you later and show you how I did the grid lines on this for quilting. So now I've actually quilted it all, and I'll show you how I drew the grid lines on here. So on each side of these lines, I put a 1/2 inch line right through the quilt, and I just moved it around. Just went 1/2 inch on either side. So then you get this grid sort of effect, and then you want it on all of these, do either side. So this goes right through to here. And you'll see you're forming like a little elongated rectangle, you might say. So with all the lines drawn, then you have to just draw these extra little bits up the top here. So just a 1/2 inch in here from the edge of your triangle. Go around and do a 1/2 inch from that. And you're forming these elongated rectangles. And that's what you're going to be sewing. Just disregard all the extra markings in the middle. You're just getting that so you can get a nice, basically you're getting 8 little elongated rectangles. And then in here, you want to go a 1/2 inch from the outside of the triangle, so 1/2 inch. Go around and do all your sides on that. And in here, I did a square. So I just went 1/2 inch in here, 1/2 inch in here, and then when you get to here, you want 3/4 of an inch, because there's a 1/4 of an inch is going to be taken up. So you want it to look all correct as far as your spacing is concerned. So it's 3/4. If it's a raw edge side, it's 3/4 of an inch in from each of those. And then you just sew the square and the triangle here. So once you've got that all done, give it a really good press. If you've got some white chalk marks, you can just use your eraser and your pencil and just erase those chalk marks off out of the centre. But they eventually will rub off, don't stress too much about that. So that is your 8-point star finished, all quilted, ready to go.